Hello, everybody. I'm Madame Sensei. I teach Spanish, French, and Japanese to high schoolers out here in the beautiful Pacific Northwest. I am thinking my way through the Harvard Project Zero thinking routines, and if you'd like to help me with this work, you can ping me at studio-nemo.com or the Minecraft Education Ambassadors or the Minecraft Teachers Lounge and the Duolingo Educators Network. Those are all places I hang out. Today we are talking about the explanation game, and this is in introducing and exploring ideas. And again, where all the thinking routines are located, the link is in the description right here. And the explanation game is also located in exploring art, images, and objects. But again, I'm only going to talk about it once. There's 80 of these to get through, so just know that Harvard Project Zero double dips a lot. So this is a routine for exploring causal understanding. This thinking routine is best done in small groups, I think. So I get out my bingo chips that I use with my Kagan cooperative learning techniques. And what happens there is everybody gets a certain number of bingo chips. And as they say a sentence, then they put their chip in the middle of the table. Okay, and then she's going to say her sentence, and he's going to say, and this gives a lot of accountability because everyone's got a certain number of chips. So one person's not hogging the conversation and one person's not being quiet the whole time. So that's the accountability piece. And everyone at the table is really good at encouraging each other and making sure that everyone talks. You should be working the room to make sure all the small groups are staying in the target language. You should always work the room. And generally it's enough just to, you hear something wrong, maybe just raise an eyebrow when you hear the bad grammar, and they'll self-correct. Or you can wonder aloud. You can say, I see 5 butterflies yellow, or I see 5 yellow butterflies, or whatever it is you need to do in your target language. Let your students self-correct, because that's the important part. For the most part, you're just eavesdropping quietly, though, which makes it really fun. Assign writing roles to each table group, and your students have probably done this a lot before in all their other classes. One student's going to record the observations that are initially made. One student records questions that everybody has from the observation. One student records various explanations or hypotheses that are proposed, and one student records the reasons that people say for those explanations and hypotheses. Okay. My students need a little bit of extra hand-holding with tasks that are too complicated. I teach mostly lower levels, so I usually print 4 papers per table, one with each of the roles already written on it. And if I'm smart, I'll have written some sentence frames on each of them in the target language, of course, if I'm on the ball. Maybe I'll even have predicted what the students are going to be asking or what words they're going to need. If nothing else, I've got my living word bank on the board, but I try to predict for the papers. But I also have just a vanilla pre-printed stack that, if some other lesson is going south, or, I need, I suddenly decide to pivot to something else because of dynamics of the class or whatever, I can just grab a stack of papers and put them out and say, hey guys, we're doing this now. And the students know what we're doing. But, I've got the pre-printed stack, so I don't have to think about it. There's no prep. If you're working on grammar explicitly, which means you've got a pop-up grammar lesson, you're doing the grammar translation method, you're doing audio-lingual method, and you're looking at transformation drills, you're doing some community language learning, and you're dissecting a script your class wrote, or you're just working straight out of your textbook, then you definitely need sentence frames. But they're easy sentence frames, okay? The I see, I notice, why is blank, because, and when your students are advanced, what makes you think that? I think X because Y. Those are all good sentence frames to give your students. When you're teaching literature, culture, history, art, teaching a recipe, listening to music, which you should be doing all the time. I really like goofy stuff, so often I show the students pictures of something before something goes horribly wrong, that kind of thing. But this routine is also really good to talk about food. So we talk about New Year's dishes in Japan, or we talk about why la baguette is long and thin and shaped like a stick, because baguette means stick. Why a flour tortilla might be used instead of a corn tortilla. All those things. Once I used this, I tried to get my French students to consider there's a common theme in a lot of French literature about a beautiful girl falling in love with an ugly man, and this occurs all the time. You know, Beauty and the Beast, La Belle et la Bête, you know, Phantom of the Opera, Riquet à la Houppe, but I don't know, we just didn't get too deep, unfortunately, for whatever reason. Someday I'll try that again. In our next episode, this will be an easy one to talk about, Walk the Week. Hope to see you there.